The best is yet to come. It was the middle of October on the island of New Florida, and the trains on the tracks were being really useful and friendly while pulling freight cars, passengers, and gender products. Women engines are really useful on the island of New Florida, just as well as other trains, because they pull passengers and freight, because they're mixed traffic engines, like on the special road, there's rails built into it, and the engines work hard on the street while they do their work and are really useful indeed while pulling passengers and freight while they get their work done. Sasha has a special train called the Overnight Limited Express, and she pulls it from Runzingaf Union Station to Rondonia Klaborianis. Trains like this are really special because they're for long distance travel, just like Amtrak. And that's what makes it really useful. Alexia the woman train is a useful engine too, because she is a mixed traffic engine, while she does passengers, freight, and gender service. Amtrak does a good job with its passengers as well as commuter railroads that are state-supported. And on every railroad crossing there's gates and a bell that rings, and the gates swing down when the train comes to the electrical circuit, and it travels over the crossing, and the gates tell all the cars to stay out of the way, and the train blows its horn to let other people know it's coming. And when the train gets to the other side, the gates go right up again. It was late in the afternoon, and Brittany and Camelia were in the rail yard waiting for their fuel when Mr. Piester arrived. He had a very important job to do. And before he spoke to the engines, the Lakeshore Limited sped by on its way to Chicago, Illinois. Mr. Piester had a job. Charlotte is having trouble with her engine, said Mr. Piester. Both of you must collect a freight train at once. Won't let you down, sir, they said, and they steamed out of the yard. But when they buffered up to their train, there was a private coach in the rear. It was from Paradise. Before they knew it, Amtrak's Silver Meteor came into view. It was headed to Miami, Florida, with all its coaches in rear and sleeper cars in the back. Well, it sped along the line. It also had a private coach. In the Amfleet car, the whole woman train sped by. It was long. In the private car, the Amtrak went the other way. It was being really useful. Then they crossed over a bridge when they heard an evil laugh. It was Dr. Evil's steam locomotive. He was very angry. I'm gonna get those boilers once and for all! He roared. We've got to get out of here! Shouted Camellia, and they sped off as fast as they could at 300 miles per hour. I'll get you now! Laughed Dr. Evil, and then a high-speed train went by. It wasn't evil, it was being really useful. Stab a boiler! Roared Dr. Evil. She was angry. Now I wanna eat an engine's eyes, and I wanna slice their eyeballs in half and eat them, and that's wild and gross, ha! Then Fatu came into view. Out of my way! She roared. Dr. Evil applied his brakes, but it was too late! Luckily, no one was hurt, but Dr. Evil was killed, and his decapitated boiler head was smashed and the engines were derailed, and it was a catastrophic mess. Sorry about this, Fatu said. Then, the MBTA commuter rail came to a stop at a signal on its way to Boston South Station, and then they saw a train coming. Brittany's driver slammed the brakes on, but it was too late! Then Diesel came up. This is Samaru work, this is Samaru work, this is Samaru work, repeated Diesel. We already talked about it, Diesel. All done, Sir Topham Hatt said sternly. Yeah! Roared Diesel as a baby whined. Don't you dare make baby sounds, Diesel. You're a locomotive, not a toddler, he roared. He was cross. Then his engine started to overheat. Bust my buffers, he said, and then water splashed, and then... I'm so gross! Yelled Diesel. There's gonna be a stomach issue! And there was! What was that vulgar sound? Asked Kiss. I don't know, said Camellia. Seems like Diesel must have puked. You're right, said Sir Topham Hatt. That was a vulgar issue. But I'm not having you blamed for bathroom failure. And that was a gross mistake. Then the substitute train pulled up. It picked up all the passengers to bring them over to South Station. Then Thomas came to see Diesel. Ew, Diesel, this is gross, Thomas said nervously. I don't think bathroom talk is allowed on Sir Topham Hatt's railway. He buffered up to Diesel, and then Graziella was there. I'll have your job done in no time, she said, and she steamed out of the sight. Just then, Alexia and Becky arrived to save Camelia and Brittany. We'll have you back on the tracks in no time, said Alexia, and she pulled with all her might, and at last the engines were back on the rails. Thank you, Alexia and Becky, said Brittany. Thank you, said... You're welcome, said Alexia. We're always really useful engines, said Becky, and they all smiled happily.